Hi, this little video is going to be showing size differences in the kernel config when we started like from a very minimal mini Linux configuration that would be like basically this is what we had somewhere in 2020 and then I started adding like some configurations, okay? And so I just don't have time for that. I'll just put like this busybox init whip and then later maybe I'll merge, but I'm going to add all kind of configurations to there and then delete everything. So this can be used um, as a little bit of reference on how I put some of the things because I kept like sizes here. So I made it for myself. Maybe someone will find it useful and maybe I will find it useful. And this was actually in August 18. So this is going to be short, but really short. I cover like everything that's here. I think it's already in the other longer talks that actually show how I do it. So in August 8, I was like in this commit. This is like where we started from. It's too big the screen, so it's a little bit hard. And the way we build the kernel would be copying like a tiny config that we kept back then. It pointed to VESA, FP serial RAM disk, sysproc, health script, and more. Except for more, it pretty much says things. And the important thing here was that building it was 1.6 megabyte, okay? And VM Linux was 8.9 megabyte. And it's super important because most of like this talk is about this. This is how I run things. It doesn't really matter. It's like about the console and so on. And then when going and like adding some configuration detection to see, hey, whether we're QEMU or not, whether we have frame buffer or not, whether we have a DRM device or not, then I saw that like on this particular kernel, I did not have like a DMI, it's called. It helps to identify like the CPU vendor and so on. So what I did, I said, okay, let's start adding something. And this is like the status that worked. We started without DRI and without DMI. So adding DRM, it's already been in the other talk. These are like the diff config. I split them so that they will fit more or less nicely. We added DRM and I just let all the automatic stuff be automatic, okay? So we got something like free here. This is nice, this is cool. And when I added this, this is 1.8, I think we started at 1.6. So we added like a 200K, and to the VM Linux, like with all the debug info, 300K. So it's not a huge penalty for something that is like very necessary. However, for DRM, you actually need like the particular driver. We covered it like in the DRM talks. So the driver that we're interested in, like for the QEMU, is Virtio GPU. And very important, if you want to actually work with a particular device and do like pass through or do some things on the host, you need to add those devices as well. And when you like use Mesa, you need to make sure that you have like the relevant blobs. So basically, we add like there's a problem like with the Virtio devices. They are not necessarily in the same place. So you need to enable like Virtio menu, and then you need to enable all kind of things. I'm not talking about it now. Basically, this is like the bus. There is an MMIO bus, but it is less recommended, and it makes you work harder to use all kind of things. So pretty much what everybody does is adding a config PCI, and it actually does take some time, but it's not like the end of the world. And these are like the config that it adds quite a lot. So yeah, actually, there's a good chance that I forgot to, like I usually do. Okay, what I probably wanted to do is to do like this, just MDPC. You know what? I'll just clean it up. Like, why not? Because it's like short. This is before I wanted like to split. So after rationale, that's what we'll have. And it's actually easier. I wanted to have like the ones with the error and the one without. And here we have like for the serial here that if you remember correctly, our keyboard is also connected via such a serial bus. Okay. So when we added it, we got like a little bit more size, okay? But we added vert.io, and to like the PCI, we added like a vert.io PCI, and it's 2.1. It's still not the end of the world. It's 2.1 megs, and then 9.7, comparing to 1.8. So it's another 300K, and so it was 1.8 and 9.2. So we can say here plus 300K, and here it is plus, there was this claim before to ignore like the side, plus 500K, right? Remember, debug infos and stuff. Great. So this is like what we also like added here, and we added when we added like a vert.io PCI. So I mean, I did some grabs like for where are the additions like within the diff config. A lot of things are added and then they are config in. So it's not like tidied, but it's absolutely accurate. Okay, I mean I did it for my own reference. So I did that, and then I added DRM box and QXL. These are like for displays, and boxes like the default VGA STD, and QXL would be like for spice, and display QXL, and then I get like TRM, TTM, and helper and VRM helper like for free here, and the sizes are the same pretty much. All right, and then I can go ahead and run like with VGA STD or VGA QXL and add like those additional displays. This is good enough for us to run DRM with these displays. Now, if we add Intel without box and QXL, then the addition here would be, this was like 2.1, so it doesn't matter, like 1.1 megs, okay? And then, let's see, 2.197, 2197, so that would be plus 1.1 and 97, and that would be yeah, 3.3. Pretty significant. And what we get here is like a DRM for Intel GPU driver, which is what I have here. And here we get like a lot of things like DP helper, all like the helper like for HDMI, compressing, maybe we'll have your video, MIPI, like these connectors, and so on and so forth, okay? So this is another thing that we add, and I will not do like the plus here because it like will take time. Some more things, if I remove, this maybe should have been like in the other order. If I did not have like Intel and add block and XTFS so that I would be able like to have a system image, then I would have 2.5 megs. So this would be here plus, plus, I wouldn't do it, but actually useful. Plus 400. 400 plus? Yeah. Wow, it's significant. 400K. And the other thing was 300K. I mean, so maybe there was something in between. But yeah, whatever. I mean, I could reproduce it, but it doesn't really matter. It was like after the CPI. Something here doesn't add up. You know what? I'll just remove it and write to myself. Did not check sizes and probably did it interim. Okay? Alright. This is what I get for saying one thing and not doing. Alright, now if we want to actually go ahead and attach like a drive, and we want to do it via QEMU, and we want to use like vert.io, then we need to add a vert.io block. So this way the device will actually, this is supposed to be via VDA. This is a mistake, but it depends like on the bus, right? And you know what, I want to see that even like the volume, okay, because we had a problem with it in the past, didn't we? Yeah, seems so. And then there was another thing, like if you wanted to add 9p, we actually needed to add like config net. So here we add like 3.4, which is another like more than 1 meg, okay, and 13M for the VM Linux, which is pretty significant. Okay, so you're still like separating them. I did like a week ago, a couple of days ago. All right. And this is like an explanation, like what you see like on the host. If you put like together a QEMU, 9P, and DRM, then basically this is like how we attach it. VirtFS, this is this one. This is just like for reference. And then we would see if like we use it with a VGA, without like VGA known, like VGA STD, and with Virtual GPU, we're going to actually have like two devices. Now here, look what we did. We had like DRM. I never remember the order. Config DRM. I mean, there is FBDev emulation, I think. And then, you know, like for these two devices, although like the second one is like more of a lie, then we actually have this one. Okay. Excellent. Now, here we have like if we want to add DMI, then we add a little thing, and then it's like about the same size. So, by the way, NLS default, this is something you will find like when you boot like a default config of RISC-V in emulator, like we saw it in PSVG Debus, RISC-V, sorry. Then this ISO 88591, just so you know, like if you have like a fat partition and you want to have like an installer, things can go extremely wrong for you, because it will say, hey, like I do not have like support for more than like 8 bytes, like in the FAT or stuff like that. So you also need to have like this NLS default. Other thing that we added, because some TDO libraries did not work, we added like a few texts. I talked about it in the other thing. Yeah, I put it, this is like a video where I say, okay, I'll stop like documenting each thing. Adding mouse and fdev, I did it before the Qt, but also like for Qt. So in summary, it was adding like fdev and input mouse. This is what you get like for free here. We added like a timer and timer FD, I think to fix some Qt things. Did not check the size either. And I actually already had this, so I don't know why the repetition. Maybe this is adding like a i915 DRM without additional things, because or maybe this is after adding more. So it's like 4.5. Let's see. There's a good chance I'm pretty yeah. So this is with the net and with the system. So I did it several times because I wanted to see what happens like when we have only the graphics. Okay, history doesn't matter. I mean, I showed it. It's on like the user space. Yeah. And then I wanted to not use M9P, but I wanted to be able to have like DHCP. And this is like important on some of the things that we added to add. First, you need to add like a network device. So I added 8,000. It did add a little bit, like 100K, but it's not a lot. These are some of the config that we have. When a vendor config is added, you can ignore it completely. It doesn't matter. Okay. However, if you want to do DHCP there, you will see like in BusyBox, you will see that it doesn't work. And it will say something like, do not have no protocol, don't know socket. So you need to add like packet, okay? Packet they add, you can add, but it doesn't matter. The size is almost the same. And there is something significant. If you want to have SMP and you want to have like several like for the boot logo, several penguin taxes together, then you must add config SMP. And this adds here like another 200K, I think, or 300K to the previous one, and like around 1 meg for the VM Linux. And here is the thing, like when you add that, you actually have all kind of configs that you want to, that can define like how many CPUs will be the max CPUs that are like available. Okay, so there is like number CPUs default, number CPUs, so on and so forth. So you need to be mindful of that, because like if you run with SMP6 or 8 or 900, then it will tell you, it will give you 2 if you just add this like for the first time. These are like its default. So SMP is nice, but SMP is not enough, because we need to add to provide a way, either device trace like in ARM, RISC-V, or ACPI, to actually say, hey, these are like the SMPs that are available to me. So ACPI adds another like 300K, all right? So you need to have it. And what I said before, like max SMP, remember, so I saw it like the NR CPUs here, like this default here. No, I never do that. Like, this is the laser pointer, right? And so I did this, and now when I add ACPI, and it will still not, it will identify only two. So here, like this is like the reason, like if I want to go and like change a config, I can change max SMP to Y, and then I will be able to have theoretically this much SMPs. It's not reasonable. You want to probably have less, but here it doesn't add too much. Adds it like 100K, and the reason for that, by the way, and that is quite interesting, is because instead of having like all kind of arrays and per CPU variables, if you know like what it is, like for your kernel developer, and just have, you know, 2 elements, then you multiply it by 4,000, and this can be significant, okay? Like, so just be aware of that. Like, you know, like if so it's like really easy to get it. Like if each variable like is byte, let's say, then you multiply it by 4,000. So it's pretty significant. Other things that are not really significant but take a little bit time to compile would be adding like kconfig here. And yeah, and the other things were like the things, the debugging that I wanted to do when figuring out what was missing in Qt Creator. I don't know if I put like the entire research when I did it. So just so you know, like if I want to run like Qt Creator, at least these ones are the system calls that I will want to look for, okay? Like samget and madvise, like for page merging and all this kind of things, all right? So this was described in another place. One of them was for EGL, and the other one was for Linux FB, but it doesn't really matter. And yeah, like the other things were not really related to that. They were like related to the Bluetooth. Everything is like in user space. And what are like the sound packages I want to install here for like minimal things, and that's it. And all of these things are actually in other videos. So that's it, all right? So we're good.